All right, cool. So, appreciate you being here, first of all. This video isn't going to be any kind of crazy demonstration or systematic breakdown, as you can see by the title. I want to let you guys know who I am as a person, as a normal dude. It says it in my YouTube banner that I'm just a regular dude who happened to scale 2 businesses to 6 figures, my lead gen agency and my consulting firm. And I really want to pull down the wall here and let you guys know who I am, because I literally am just a regular dude. There's no, I'm not some major guru whatsoever. Like I show my office and it looks like disgustingly boring. And there's a dope ass view right outside right there. Like, you know what I mean? Of the whole city of California, but I don't show it as much. You know what I'm saying? So I really just want to pull down the curtains and show you guys like, hey, I'm just a regular dude. If you guys find anything that you can relate to, let me know in the comments. I'd love to, you know what I mean? I'd love to have stories with people about, things that we can relate to about our past. Cause a lot of us, believe it or not, we kind of have similar stories, especially us in the online business space. Very similar stories. A lot of us started off in, difficult areas and then kind of got into making money online. And now our entire trajectory of our life has changed. So I want to show you guys and share with you my life. So we'll just jump into this here. Okay. My story. First things first, I grew up here, right? I just said a lot of us grew up with things that, not a lot of things and, in the trenches, but I didn't. I grew up literally right there. That was a beach I used to go to almost every single week. And I say every single week other than every day because it's on the opposite side of the island, but it's on the island of Maui in Hawaii. So I grew up in Hawaii and it was amazing. Like, I'm not going to say I grew up in the trenches at all. It was fucking phenomenal. It was awesome. I loved it. In the moment, I didn't really realize it, how much I really loved it. But now looking back on it, I realized how much of it I really did take for granted and how blessed I was to be able to grow up on an island like that. But, and you'll understand why I kind of looked over it, but it was definitely priced out of paradise. Like, ask anybody who grew up in Hawaii and moved somewhere else. I mean, even people who still live there, right? And I'm going to retire there for sure. It is priced the fuck out of paradise. Excuse my French. Like, it is insanely expensive. My dad he worked there, as a paramedic for like, I think 15 or 16 years until he retired or something like that. So the whole time I was growing up, he was a paramedic. My mom was working like 4 jobs a day or like 3 jobs a day. She was doing like jewelry on the side, trying to start her own, business that we helped her scale now. But back in the day, she was trying to start that. She was doing like whale watching tours. So taking people on boats and translating because she's Japanese. And she was also a waitress. And then she was also a waitress at another like acai place, like making acai bowls and stuff. So she was like the hardest working woman that I know in my entire life, without a doubt. And my dad is the hardest working man that I know in my entire life. So I'm so blessed to have them as parents. They were never really like, they were married, but they weren't, together, if that makes sense. I'm sure a lot of you guys can kind of relate to that. It's like they shared separate bedrooms. They had separate bedrooms. We lived in a 3-bedroom house. My dad had one room. My mom had the other. And I had 2 siblings. I had one older brother and one younger brother. And we all shared this tight ass room. Like, me and my younger brother shared a bunk bed together. And my older brother had his own bed, obviously, because he had the older privilege. And we never, ever had our own rooms. And it was always something that we all dreamed of. Like, my dad and my mom always talked about, okay, once we get a divorce, you guys will have your own rooms. And we're pumped for it. Like, we didn't care. The divorce, we knew they didn't hate each other. We lived under the same roof. It was just like, the love wasn't there anymore. You know what I mean? But, yeah, we just all grew up in the same room. So we're super tight, obviously always fighting, throwing hands at each other, but that's just how it was. And I was living the life. Like, I was surfing every single day. I was playing basketball every single day. I was surfing, playing basketball, cruising the streets, skating, doing whatever. Like, literally, like, my dad had a golf cart. We would take the golf cart down to the street, and I was like 14, 15 at this time. We're driving with my older brother, no license whatsoever, and we would just drive around, pick up like our friends or like girlfriends or whatever, drive around and get pulled over. Like, I probably got pulled over like 9 to 12 times before I got my license. Before I got my permit, I got pulled over that many times. And every single time I got let go, because it's just like, boom, dude, they all know my dad because he was a paramedic, and the police station was right there. And like, dude, just go home. Take this home. What are you doing? You're fucking stupid, right? So I lived an amazing life, right? We didn't have much, but with what we had, we made it work. We didn't grow up in a mansion. We grew up in a really, decent sized house, but it was just like, I don't like to say we were in the trenches whatsoever, because it was just, we had two hardworking parents, nice place, and people had it a lot worse. So I was more than blessed, right? But my mom is very traditional Japanese. So it wasn't like they're giving me money at all. It was like, hey, if you're going to make money, go make money. Like, we're not giving you money. Neither was my dad. My dad was one of the hardest working guys, like always building something, never had time to throw us money. Like, occasionally for our birthday, he would give us like $100. My mom would give me like a pair of shoes or something at max, right? But I was fine with it, because the hustle that they showed me was like, I know I need to make my own way. I know I need to find my own way to make money. And that's where I came across sneaker reselling, where I saw a massive gap in the market in Hawaii, where it's like nobody was selling shoes, at least at scale, and nobody was selling shoes that people wanted. I was in high school at this time, and I was like, dude, I have connections with people in San Diego. I have connections with people in California, New York. And I was like, let me source and buy shoes from you guys in bulk, and then I'll just resell them here for a higher ticket price, right? And that worked amazing. In order to get the money for bulk, I was doing like surf lessons. So I was teaching people how to surf and whatnot. So I was sneaker reselling. That was like my main hustle for like a good 3 to 4 years straight. I was waking up at 3:30 a.m. for sneaker drops, and, making robots, or not making robots, but I bought a few robots to bot sneaker pages so that I get it like instantly. So I was one of those kids. But it worked great. So with the money that I made from there, I would go snowboard. At least I went one time. I used all the money and went on a snowboard trip with a couple of my buddies in Alaska, and it was the most fun I've ever had in my life. Point is, I had an amazing childhood. Like, it was amazing. I was raised great. Like I said, my dad's gnarly, so I'm glad he slapped the fuck out of me. He slapped the fuck on my older brother and beat us until we understood what life was really about. Can't really say the same for my younger brother. He's crushing it right now, but he just wasn't raised like how me and my older brother were. And then, it was like, hence the red arrow here. Things kind of went to shit. Things kind of got gnarly here. So this is my older brother. And at this point, I was probably 15, or I was 15, right? This is like during COVID, hence the masks. And my brother got this, disease, mono. And it was like the quickest thing that I've ever experienced. Like, when I would think of loss, right, I would assume it's like, okay, they're laying down, they understand, like, hey, I'm going to go, say your last words kind of thing. And it was like, I get to say my last words to you, and we part ways. It sucks, but that's how it is. That's what I assumed, right? But this was the quickest, like, destruction of my life I could possibly imagine. I don't want to talk too much about it yet, but I was the only one with him at the crib. It was like a break day. It was COVID again. My younger brother was out doing something. My mom and my dad were out working or something. And it was just me and him. And dude pulls up to me and is like, dude, I have alien arm or something. He says he has alien arm. I'm like, what's alien arm? He's like, oh, it's a thing when your arm goes numb. I'm like, oh, that's funny. He's like messing around with it. I'm like playing Fortnite, right? And he's messing around with his alien arm. And he starts like kind of slurring a little bit. And I'm started looking at him, like, my dad's a paramedic, and I was CPR, first aid, and AED certified because I was a surf instructor. So I'm like, dude, you're slurring. Like, are you good? He's like, yeah, dude, it's just alien arm. We're good. He's like, I can't feel my leg, though. Like, my whole right side is numb. He's like joking around about this, right? And I've never talked about this online, let alone to, like, honestly, to anybody, to be honest. This is, like, the first time I'm coming out. But, that happens, and his lip starts going numb. His whole left side, or his whole right side of his mouth goes numb. The face goes numb. Everything goes numb. And then off rip, I'm not like, okay, something's totally messed up. I'm calling Pop. So I call my dad up, and I have it on speaker. And my dad's like, Cole, you're having a stroke. Call the ambulance right now. My brother like doesn't want to freak out, right? Like I can just tell he doesn't want to freak out, but he knows it's nuts. And I think now looking back at it, because I was his younger brother, he knew the extreme, like the extensiveness of it, but didn't want to freak me out as a younger brother. And I was like, okay. I took it off speaker, started talking to my dad. My brother was looking in the mirror at himself, and he's like, call the ambulance right now. He needs to go to the hospital, like right now, ASAP. He's having a stroke. So I'm like, okay, call the ambulance. My mom finally pulls up, goes outside, ambulance, whatever. And then, he passed away like literally the day after. We couldn't see him the night before. Only my dad could because it was COVID. We couldn't get in. It was the gnarliest thing I've ever experienced in my life. Like insane. I don't wish it upon my worst enemy ever. And yeah, from there, you know, I kind of hard to transition from that. But from there, I graduated high school at 17 years old because I was one of those younger kids. And I got sucked into vices a little bit. You know, I was smoking here and there, going out to parties, and just being like a degenerate kid with I had such a massive goal when I was sneaker reselling, right? When I had this going on, I had a massive goal. Like I want to make millions sneaker reselling. I want to own a sneaker shop on Maui. And my younger brother was a barber, and we're going to have a sneaker and barber shop. I had massive dreams. And at this point I was just like, dude, this sucks. Like why would you take him? What am I here to do? Like this sucks, right? That's what I was thinking. So I graduated and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to college. My dad was always against it. So I paid $1,500 for an Imangati course. And yeah, literally paid $1,500 for an Imangati course. Asked my mom to borrow like $1,000. I didn't have any at the time. And she paid for $1,000 of it. I put $500 of my own money down and just grinded Imangati. 2 days later, and this is 15, this is 17, this is 17 still. 2 days later, no joke whatsoever, the entire town that I grew up in like lights up in flames. Like insane winds that we've never heard of before, 90 miles an hour. You guys can look this up. It's a town called Lahaina. I grew up in the heart of that town. And the entire town is just in flames, right? And I left the morning of to go pool hop with my friends. My mom and my younger brother were sleeping. My dogs were all at the crib. My dad was out doing something. I don't know what he was doing. I think he was at like Ace Hardware, right? And I can't get in. The cops blocked everything. I couldn't get in. The entire house went up in flames. The entire town is just dust. Like everything in the entire town, nothing. It all looked like this. Most of it was just like chairs. You can see these chairs here. And this right here is my truck that I'm underlining here. That's my truck, right? Completely toast, right? So literally 3 days after I started an agency, everything went to shit. My computer, I was left with my phone and a pair of underwear that I still have to this day, which might be kind of weird, but yeah. And then, yeah, I remember because I was in that Imangati course and this happened, I asked in the community, I was like, hey, I completed all the modules. I'm starting the agency right now. I have a good idea of how this is going to work out for me. I was very pumped up about this. I was like, I know this is going to work. And then I posted in the chat community, like, I just lost everything. I just lost my house and I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. And I was asking that so that I could hear people saying, push through, grind it out. Cause that's what I wanted to hear. But everybody in there was like telling me like, quit this, like, focus on your family right now. Everything is going to be okay. The business will be here in a few years down the line. Rebuild your house, all this stuff. And I was like, I'm not taking time away from my family. Like, I'm sorry. Like, thank you for the advice. I don't know why I posted that. I didn't say this in the chat, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, I'm going to grind through this. Like, there's no way. This is more of a reason to just go balls to the walls with this agency and this online business thing and make sure that it works. And as you can see here, it was not working. Like $4 in the bank account, starting an agency. This is Atlas Scale. I started an agency. That was my agency company. $4 in the bank account. My girl's going to California for school. She's inviting me. She wants me to go out with her because, you know, her dad wants someone out there to protect her, and he's offering to just cover the entirety of the rent. And I was like, fuck it. Like, let's go. We moved out to California, ghettoest apartment ever in Anaheim. If you guys know, you know, like Disneyland's right there. There's gunshots. They don't talk about it because Disneyland's right there. It's bad for the marketing. I look outside. You can see outside over here where all those cars are, right? I watched people breaking into those cars right outside of my apartment. I'm on the second floor. I'm just looking down at people shattering the windows. It's like, dude, what am I doing here? This is mad. But I'm, as you can see, just grinding, like head down, grinding, posting content like this, posting videos on YouTube, going crazy hard. And at this point, I'm making probably 5 to 7K per month where I would go. I remember I was doing like I hit 7K per month, dropped down to 3K per month, went up to 5, dropped down to 2, went up to 6. It was fluctuating, but I was starting to make money here and there, right? Not a lot, but enough to where it was like average income. You know what I mean? But my credit cards, like these are all my credit cards. I had a gold card, all this stuff. I had like what, 2, 4, 6, 8.5K in just credit card debt, right? Which was insane because I was maxing out my credit cards to pay for mentors, pay for coaching programs. And I'm so glad looking back at it that I took that risk and just, this is so stupid. Like, at the same, I want to say I don't recommend it, but at the same time, it's the only reason I am where I am. Because if I just sat on my ass and was like, I can learn it myself, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. That's for sure. Or at least I would be here in the next 3 years. So 8.5K in credit card debt was not fun at all, but things changed. Things finally switched around. Like, I finally got that like rush of things are working. Like, this feels amazing. Finally, things are clicking in place where they're supposed to be, right? And it was because I was like, I reprogrammed my entire subconscious. I went really deep into identity work and whatnot, and got a lot closer to God. And things really started to turn around. 15.4K, 20K, moved into the apartment that I'm in right now, which is it's the only high-rise apartment in Southern California. Bought my dad things that he would have never bought for himself, and he would never be able to buy for himself because he just wouldn't do it for himself, you know? So I was able to buy him things like this watch for Christmas, taking my girls on trips like this. We went to snowboard and shit. I had a video, I remember, when I was around, like right after the fire, right in this area, I made a video talking to myself like, dude, Noah, in the future, I hope in a year from now you can make like 10K a month, right? And literally, I think like about a year later, I had a 10K day, right? This was 9K. I had another K, $1,000 come through in Stripe. At a 10K day, absolutely insane. Like, I felt an insane amount of euphoria. And that's when I realized I have a system that works. I have a system that is replicatable, and I looked online. I couldn't find a single system there were similar ones for sure. There always is, but the one we have is it was a one-of-one system. I realized I was like, I need to help people do this for themselves. I'd done it for myself, right? I was able to take myself. I was in Japan here. I was on a beach in Maui, Hawaii here. I was at a nice restaurant in Hawaii here. I was at Nobu. We're doing like 11K in a day, right? I know it says like 8K in the day, but this was in Hawaii time, so the time zone was weird. We did it at like midnight. 11K in a day. The content mechanisms were going off. It was working phenomenally. 24K in a month. This was like a 31K month, right? Taking my girl out on our anniversary, rented out a Lambo just for fun. Like, I realized I had replicatable systems, right? That's why I started Hijacks Consulting, and you can see here all these results, right? We have Hoku hitting 17.4K at 17 years old. Scotty buying his dream watch. We got ads running for 72 hours, 25x ROAS, 10K in 7 days. Dylan, 9 days in running our ad strategy, he spent $180, collected $14,000. And if you do the math on that, that's a 77.7x ROAS. And I remember when Dylan came to us, he was charging like 200 to 500, like $200 to $500 a pop for his ticket. And it's just something that when I see, I'm just so proud of, because I see myself back in the day. Hoku, 20K per month. We got a 5K week for Hayden and Sam. Like, I realized the system was replicatable, and it's a system that I stand by because we have one team member, one very simple ad strategy that is very, very powerful. I've been using it for like at this point like 3 years now, and it's the same strategy that we've been using, obviously like doubled and better. Average around anywhere from 9 to 13x return on ad spend on the low end, which means you put $1 in, you can at the least expect $9 out. We have private automation tools that we build ourselves in Hijacks, working maybe 3 to 4 days per week. And the reason for this is because I stand by the principle of building your business around your life, not your life around your business. When you build your life around your business, you hate your clients, you hate showing up on one-on-one calls, you just don't enjoy what you started, right? You started a profitable, lucrative business. Sure, you're making money, but you don't have enough time to go out and play pickleball with your girl. You can't even take yourself out to a nice dinner because you don't have enough time. You're managing 5 team members. You're managing a content agency. You're managing 3 setters. You're managing a closer. You're managing all this stuff. And the majority of the guys that I speak to and the guys that I actually enjoy spending time with, because there's guys in business in the info space that I just wouldn't want to spend time with. All right, it's kind of just like, you guys are data nerds, right? And then there's the guys that I genuinely want to spend time with. These guys are, going to Bali, they're going to Japan, they're going to travel the world and still consistently raking in like 30, 40K per month. And those are the guys that I knew I wanted to be like, and that's who I am now. And I stand by that. So that's why when I help people, I make sure that you're here for the reason of freedom, right? As corny as that sounds, that's the main boiled down principle of why all of us started in the info product scene. The 2 main reasons that I hear all the time is I want freedom. I want to be able to buy what I want when I want. I want to be able to go where I want when I want. I want to be able to do all the things that I want to do on my timing. I don't want to have to listen to a boss. Freedom. Number two is I want to be able to help my parents out financially. They have struggled for a long time. I want to help them out. Those are the two main reasons, right, that I've seen. And that's the type of business that we help people build, is that a business that rakes in 25 to 30K per month, but at the same time, you get to live your life under your circumstances, under your way. Because I realized after losing my house, after losing my brother, time here is very precious, very precious. You can lose everything overnight like that, like I did. Everything gone. And we've rebuilt, like I have rebuilt. If I talk to myself back then and tell him where I am now, he would call bullshit so quick. But to understand that time is so precious, you could lose everything so quick. The materialistic doesn't matter. If you want to make 100K per month, $60,000 profit, and have 5 team members and build a massive company at scale, by all means, go do that, right? And that's something we'll probably do in the future, right? Eventually, right? If that's something I feel like. But I'm in a phase now where I am prioritizing my well-being, I'm prioritizing my freedom, and I'm prioritizing being able to help my family and my parents, right? And with that said, that's why our business operates as one team member, one ad strategy, our private tools that are automated. So running client acquisition on autopilot, work 3 to 4 days per week. We only take calls with high quality prospects. We're not hopping on calls with guys from India, right? We're not hopping on calls with guys who just want help. We hop on calls with guys who know what we do, who know how we can help and how we solve their perfect problem, right? And that's why all of our calls go very smoothly. We have like a 66% close rate, and you can bring in 30K a month, 28K cash collected, and live an amazing life. But that's my story. That's what I'm doing now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you guys have anything that you guys like related to whatsoever in here, drop it down in the comments. Like, please, I would love to. I read through every single one of my comments. I don't have like tens of thousands of subscribers, so I would read through every single comment that you guys throw in here. And yeah, truly, I appreciate you guys for listening. If you stayed to the end, this is a really long video, but I appreciate you guys for staying, and I'll see you guys in the next one.